100 million bacteria swarm all over our bodies and help create our own unique aroma.
Can't have a whiff of that. Oh, God.
They're in the moist, sweaty bits of our armpit and groin, doubling every 60 minutes. They're even inside the colon, up to ½ kilo of them, munching on the food we don't digest.
I can't actually ever produce a fart on request. Unfortunately, I wish I could, because there are some people who deserve them.
Well, there's the offending article. That's the hairy arse that causes the flatulence.
And they live in our mouths, getting their kicks from the rotting food between our teeth.
Not very nice to smell.
In this program, we're going to find out how the bugs and our bodies come together to create our own special smell.
That is gorgeous.
Tim doesn't fart any more than most people, but when he does, they really stink. He's going to get help to control the horrible odours his body's bacteria produce.
Just a bit depressing.
Chris and Maddie have volunteered to find out if food or flossing is the key to beating bad breath. And the Trellicks test the relationship between sweat and smell.
Oh, he's ripe. Oh, yeah.
I don't smell too fresh either, but there's a good reason why I'm wrapped in foil. Now, I haven't washed for the past 24 hours. I'm not wearing any deodorant or aftershave, and I haven't eaten any garlicky or spicy foods. I'm going to spend the next hour sweating and farting in this foil bag and find out the chemical composition of my smell. Everyone's natural body smell is made up of around 300 different compounds, and none of us has exactly the same mix.
This air pump is going to pump air into the bag up here, and the air is going to flow through the bag, down over your body, collect all your body odours, and it's going to be pulled through some filters, which is going to trap the chemicals.
There is a serious point to all this. The research team collects body odours from volunteers to examine which compounds make us more attractive to biting mosquitoes. They hope to develop a more natural repellent. I'm just intrigued that in an hour's time I'll have a printout of my very own smell. Before that, flatulence.
So first name Timothy, occupation architect.
Tim doesn't need a machine to work out how he smells.
Do you suffer from flatulence or bloating? Yes.
He's preparing to meet a nutritionist who's going to help him with his particularly pongy problem.
You have a bowel movement daily? Yes.
No, stop it!
Most people fart between 8 and 20 times a day, but most people don't smell as bad as Tim.
You smell like something that's been left to rot for a month and then brought to the surface to air. Awful. No, it's true. It's like you've got a half undigested cow stuck in your gut somewhere, and it's there for a long time.
I normally tend to pass wind after a heavy night out at approximately 10, 11, 12 in the morning, when the food has been hopefully properly digested, or not, as the case may be. I think my work colleagues suffer the most.
It's an explosion in slow motion, because what it is it starts in an epicenter. Few people have hints of the smell, and then it spreads and gradually more and more and more until the entire floor of the office is aware of your devastation, the obnoxiousness of what you've done, and it's only at that point that you go, oh, it was me. And then
in fact, these three, like all of us, brew up to 2 litres of guffs a day, and that goes for men and women. How often we fart is largely down to how we eat and drink, because flatulence is mostly swallowed air.
I noticed that the flatulence is building up pretty much very soon after I've eaten. Sometimes it astonishes me how quickly something actually does start to produce gas.
The rest of the gas comes from the food we don't digest. It makes its way down to the large intestine, where ½ kilo of bacteria is waiting to munch on the waste. The bacteria themselves fart out hydrogen, carbon dioxide and methane, which don't smell, and 3 other gases which do. These come from foods that contain sulfur, like onions, garlic, cabbage, and anything with protein, like cheese or meat. But the mix of gases isn't always the same.
My farts do smell differently according to the food I've eaten. Sushi farts smell very different to beef farts, that's for sure.
It's the combination of smelly and non-smelly gases that determines whether you drop big noisy ones or whether you're silent but deadly.
This one was quite bad. Dinner was asparagus, treboleth ham, 2 small pieces of milk chocolate, and I had 9 farts, 4 of which were very smelly. Oh, God, I got a bit of wind there, actually.
Before he meets the nutritionist, Tim's got to keep a detailed diary of what he eats and how much he smells.
And some of it's quite embarrassing, actually. I mean, this one, you know, we had a dinner, a spaghetti bolognese and lettuce, champagne, red wine, port. This is 1975 port, and that's quite good. Taste of Stilton, water, and 5 farts. 1 very potent fart. Sometimes it's quite interesting that I've only got 1 very potent fart there, not more than 1.
All the gory details will be analysed, and Tim's hoping his innards will get sorted out. The Trellicks have been gigging and recording together for 3 years and are hoping for a big break with a professional contract. But there's a long, sweaty road ahead.
Yeah, sure, I'll be around. Yeah, sure, be a part of time. I'll be safe, I'm meeting people at your house.
The band have an important gig coming up, and they've agreed to be my lab rats.
There you are. I might have known.
But I'm not so interested in how they sound. I want to know how they sweat and smell.
What sort of image do you have on stage? Are you like this, or...?
No.
Well, we wear suits, don't we?
Hold on a second. You wear suits?
Right.
Who's the stinkiest?
I think it's going to be Phil.
Yeah, but Alex is moving her hands all the time.
See?
And her feet.
I don't think I sweat as much as you do.
We're going to take a little swab from underneath the arm in here, putting it into an envelope, sealing it and sending it off for analysis.
Right.
So that's the first thing. The gig on Saturday night will reveal all. Meanwhile, the Trellicks reckon that the sweatiest band member, Phil, will also be the smelliest. Next up, bad breath. This is Chris, and this is Maddie.
It's certainly a bit whiffy.
So have you felt any remorse about kissing me or being with me?
No.
They've been living together for the past 6 months, so they're pretty used to each other's smells.
Yeah, slightly, yeah. First thing in the morning, definitely.
Yeah, because
Neither of them has a problem with smelly breath,
the trouble is, it's
but they've agreed to help me with an experiment, so that's about to change.
Pickled garlic.
Wow.
Oh, you've got to be kidding.
That looks great.
What sort of state's your breath going to be in?
I'd imagine fairly potent.
We all know there's more than one way to get bad breath. For a start, after eating this lot, our breath is going to stink, and the chemical in garlic responsible for the smell is another sulfur compound. It makes its way down through the stomach and into the gut, but doesn't get digested here. Some is eaten by the bacteria, but some is absorbed through the gut wall and goes directly into the bloodstream, which means it travels into all the tissues of the body. This is why you can sometimes smell strong foods on your skin, through sweat, or even in your pee. Some of it also makes its way to the lungs, where it's expelled on the breath. But is there more to it? That's what the test will find out.
OK, Chris, the next 5 days, will you please refrain from brushing your teeth? Can you do it for me?
It's a tough call.
You do?
Yeah.
Good man, good man. Maddie,
Yes.
full oral hygiene, but I want you to eat a diet of really, really, really garlicky, rich food, as you've started already.
Okay.
You up for that?
Absolutely.
With the help of an expert, Chris and Maddie are going to find out the fundamental difference between 5 days eating spicy food and 5 days without brushing. Today, Tim's meeting his nutritionist, Charlotte Watts. She can tell what exactly is causing his smelly flatulence just from one look inside his fridge.
Whoa.
That's a good one. That's a very
See, that
nice
even
one.
smells like a fart.
It certainly does, actually.
So this is typical, is it?
A lot of cheese at the moment, but yes, quite typical. That's beef. That was from some beef carpaccio we had that's still bleeding, actually.
It's the poor protein digestion that causes the smelly farts, basically.
Tim eats a lot of fruit, which he thinks is doing him good, but combined with the protein in meat and cheese, Charlotte reckons it's making matters worse.
You put sugar on top of that, you've got kind of a basic fermentation
You've got a proper
plant going on. You've got a proper still going on there,
proper
really.
brewery going.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not just yeast that causes fermentation. When bacteria create a smelly fart, the process is essentially the same as brewing beer.
Not allowed bread because it's too much carbohydrate. What am I going to do for stodge?
Tim's about to start a 10-day anti-flatulence diet, so he's not allowed to mix proteins with carbohydrates.
Carbohydrate, not an apple.
Or sugary fruit, to stop that fermentation. And Charlotte wants Tim to swap his posh ham for lean, oily fish and organic chicken, much easier to digest.
So I need to get some healthy fish. What would you recommend for health?
The scallops are very good.
A dozen?
I'll give you large ones and then you can slice them in half.
Ooh, and a pot of Dorset crab, that looks good. I mean, the oily fish might be okay, but lettuce, celery, string beans, I mean, it's all quite boring crap, really.
The vegetables are there to thin out the protein, and they've got another job as well. The emphasis in Tim's new regime is on fibre.
2 branches of rosemary and a couple of carrots as well, please. It's a fairly new experience having to buy so much green stuff that I'm actually going to have to consume. This diet is the complete opposite than my normal diet.
So much fruit and veg may come as a surprise in an anti-fart diet, but the fibre will help push out the smelly waste and trapped gas that's built up in Tim's gut.
I'm looking forward to finishing this diet, not necessarily starting it. I'm hoping I succeed.
Okay, 30 minutes in and it is grim in here. Hot, sweaty, obviously. God knows what odours emitting from my poor body.
How's it feel?
It's disgusting.
Is it?
Yeah.
Chris hasn't brushed his teeth for 24 hours.
It's just stale and coffee and...
But some people live with this all their life. I'm doing it for an experiment. It's disgusting.
Organic wholemeal rye bread and lots of yogurts.
Tim's still not convinced by his new diet.
We've got all of these nuts. Who the bloody hell eats this dodgy shit?
In fact, the only person having any fun is Maddie.
And there'll be about 20 cloves of garlic in total. And chilli. It's got a really, really good aftertaste. It's lovely.
But the side effects of lots of meat and garlic are sadly predictable.
Really, really bad wind. Like, probably every 4 minutes at the moment. And it absolutely reeks.
Oh, it's not as bad as my fart. You smell that, smell that.
After a slow start, Tim's flatulence goes off the scale. And he's pretty sure he knows what's to blame.
The fiber's gone straight through and it's clearing me up.
It's the day of the Trellick's gig. Their clothes are on the front line when it comes to picking up sweat and bacteria, so Baz is in charge of making sure everyone's suit is clean and fresh.
They weren't too smelly, were they, I hope?
One of those was.
Oh, it doesn't...
We all have around 4 million sweat glands, and they produce 2 very different kinds of sweat. The stuff on your hands, face, and most of your body doesn't lead to BO, but the sweat under your arms is different.
Yeah, it's a job well done.
It's only the hairy bits that produce the perspiration which causes us problems, thanks to special sweat glands called apocrine glands. They're deep in the bottom layer of the skin and produce sweat which travels up a duct near the hair follicle. It's a thick, oily substance which contains salts and proteins, and when it reaches the surface, it's trapped by the hairs where it feeds millions of bacteria. They're the ones that cause BO. By gobbling the protein-filled sweat, they emit smelly gases, and if your clothes aren't cleaned, they'll survive there for 4 days. After an hour in the foil bag, it's now time for my body's natural smell to be analysed by the researchers.
Okay, John, you can see there's hundreds of peaks in here, and each one of these peaks corresponds to a different chemical.
Okay, so this signature here for me, would that be more or less smelly than most people you test here?
It's probably more smelly than the majority of people, yes. However, technically speaking, it might not be, because some of these compounds aren't actually detectable by the human nose.
Okay, okay.
However, if you look down here at this trace, this is a trace of my odour
this
collection.
is you? Oh, right.
Yeah, so this is a trace of me after eating a curry and spicy food and garlic last night. And if you look down here, you can see this chemical here, which isn't present in yours, is likely to be dimethyl disulfide, which is characteristic of garlic, of eating garlic.
Dimethyl disulfide?
That's right, yeah.
So that's, in a sense, the smell signature of a curry?
It could be, yes.
That's great.
There's no garlic in my smell, and I can tell you I didn't fart much. But I'm giving off a lot more chemicals than James here. So are they down to how much I sweat, how many bugs on my skin, or something else entirely? That's what I hope to find out with the help of the Trellix. Tonight's the night, and our musical guinea pigs are hoping for a good turnout at the gig. Some last-minute nerves, those suits, and no deodorant means they're heating up already.
Looking forward to it. Getting out and playing some rock and roll, moving around, getting people going. If I had a jacket on, I'd be sweating loads, but I haven't got one. I have got one, but I can't fit into it.
Quite sweaty already. I'm pretty sure they're going to get worse.
By the time we finish the gig, I'll be flooding buckets. It'll be pouring off me. It's the only workout I do. I work for the NHS, so I don't sweat at work.
I remember, flights and ice, we are naked, I'm a blues fight.
100 jumping bodies, one energetic band, and an active frontman means it's getting hot in here. One pea-sized drop of sweat can cool 1 litre of blood by ½ degree Celsius. But sweating is very efficient. In here, we're perspiring to keep our body temperature constant at around 37 degrees.
Fantastic. Mr. Microphone here was dripping.
People that shared a minicab with me.
That was a sterling performance, but what we're really here for is the sweat test. I know. So let's do it. Okay, it's here. Hand them out. Oh, Vicar.
Oh, dear.
Right, I'm doing my test in private.
Need to target your armpits.
Okay.
Oh! Really sliming in there. Oh, dear. Has anyone got a shovel? Oh, have a whiff of that. Oh, look at it. Oh, yeah. Oh, he's ripe. Oh, yeah.
Chris, Maddie and Tim's battles with the bugs are producing mixed results.
Bill, let me smell your breath and you can smell mine. Oh, look, he wants to get away. It's that bad.
Yesterday I felt a bit faint at one point. I think I'm missing the red meat.
I've actually got a quite nice taste in my mouth. I can't imagine what yours tastes like. That's disgusting. You're actually enjoying inflicting your bad breath pain on me.
I am. Yes, you are.
That's horrible.
Just looking forward to wine and cheese, though. That has to be said.
But Maddie's cleaning her teeth, and it probably doesn't seem to do any good because she's got this now permanent smell of garlic, not just on her breath, but on her whole body. The house stinks of it, and I think for both of us, sleeping is becoming a bit of a problem because we've both got to put up with each other's breath.
Sleep deprivation isn't the only thing Chris and Maddie have to worry about. They're going to find out what state their mouths are in at the end of the test. Dr. Phil Stemmer is a dentist and bad breath specialist. His nose is finely tuned to the horror of halitosis.
What I want you to do is to breathe out. Good. Count out loud to
Maddie knows her breath smells, but what does the expert make of it?
Okay. And breathe out through your nose. That's it, lovely. There was no bad breath, but a very strong smell of spices, and which is called food breath. That's not bad breath, that's totally different.
Right.
That will go totally if you avoid the garlicky and onion spicy foods. Within a day or two, it'll go completely, and you'll have pristine breath. Breathe out. Good. Now count out to 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Great. Now breathe out through your nose. Terrific. Well done.
Disgusting.
And the results for that is, on a scale of 0 to 3, I would say that the mouth was 1.5 to 2, so there is certainly something there.
In fact, Chris has probably had bad breath for the past 4 days. After just 24 hours, the smell starts to build up.
As one would expect, there's quite a lot of inflammation and quite a lot of plaque around the teeth.
But plaque is at the heart of the problem. It's a mixture of food and bacteria constantly forming on our teeth. If it's not brushed away, the bugs are worse than the ones in the gut, farting out 25 smelly gases which make our breath smell.
Now what we're going to do is going to take a little bit of plaque and put it under the microscope and test it.
Phil Stemmer likes to leave his patients in no doubt about what's living on their teeth.
There we are. The green is a mass of plaque, and there's all the bacteria moving around. Now these spirally ones, they're called spirochetes. They are symptomatic of bad breath. There's also quite a lot of white blood cells which have been sent there by the body to fight the excess bacteria that are there, which shows that there's disease process going on.
After just 5 days without brushing, Chris has got bad breath, bad plaque, and he's already on the way to serious gum disease. Comparing Chris's results with a clean mouth shows just how quickly the bacteria have built up. Reverting to his usual brushing regime means the bad breath should go soon. And Maddie's going to lay off the garlic.
Does that feel nice? Just think we'll be able to kiss again now. I'll be able to kiss you in the mornings.
Tim's finished his diet, and he's invited his friends round to share in his new culinary habits.
I feel pretty happy about finishing my diet, so I thought we'd at least celebrate.
After a bad start, to Tim's surprise, his anti-flatulent food regime has worked. By the last few days of the diet, the number of farts dropped to more sociable levels.
Need some carrots.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, it smells gorgeous. I would have been surprised if someone had said that at the end of the diet I'd actually be more interested in vegetables. I think I would have been quite surprised, because they're not normally that interesting.
It wasn't clean.
The diet has affected my farting in terms of cutting down the smelly farts, but the number of farts itself has also decreased. But it's the most important thing, and socially, you don't want to be dropping smelly ones when you're out and about. You can eat well and lightly. It doesn't all have to be rich. So we've got salmon, we've got champagne, we've got light lemon sauce and parsley, and prawns, shrimps, good stuff. My bad old farty ways are selectively in the past. I think that I will be a bit more careful, and I'll be selective about when I choose to have the food which agrees with my mouth and not with my stomach. So I think the continual level of farting will definitely stop. The only part of this food that may make me fart is the mayonnaise, so I'm only going to have a small amount of it. It won't be a smelly fart.
The Trellick sweat samples, taken before and after the gig, have reached the lab. Though the band all performed under the same conditions and wore no deodorant, there's a huge difference in the number and type of bacteria growing on their samples.
With sample number 6, prior to the gig, this person has scant bacteria. The smell is by no means offensive. It's quite sweet and sort of musky smelling. And after the gig, although we have the same sort of organisms, you can see that the growth is much heavier. And it doesn't smell at all bad. It's got another sort of sweet, musky smell. It's stronger than prior to the gig, but it's by no means offensive.
It's the type of bacteria on the skin that causes BO, not the number. Not all the bugs make you smell bad.
With sample number 5, prior to the gig, this person has a heavy growth of normal bacteria. It's a little bit smelly, it's sort of a musky, sweet smell. After the gig, this particular person has very different bacteria in their sweat sample, and it's a very pungent, very musky smell, and it's by far the strongest smell out of all the samples that we've analysed.
So some bugs make smellier gases than others, and it's the particular combination of bacteria that we each carry which determines how we smell.
This person is perhaps the smelliest, and whose body odour is perhaps going to cause most offence.
The results reveal that the most smelly trellick is not the most sweaty.
Evening, band. All right, yeah, all right. Come close, coming close, coming close. Well, in great Hollywood tradition, I have the results of the sweat test. Sample 5 was regarded by the microbiologist as the most stinky. And I can reveal to you that sample 5 was from Pete. The most pungent smell he'd ever come across in his life.
The trellicks predicted that Phil, the sweaty frontman, would be smelliest. But the results have shown that Pete, on lead guitar, carries more pong-producing bacteria than Phil, though he sweats a lot less.
The person with the least was Jonathan.
Ah.
Described as having a sweet smell.
But whether your armpits, mouth or gut are harbouring a sweet set of bugs or a stinky set, don't let them give you the creeps. After all, they're only natural.
Thank you, my lovers. I've got one more thing from this test to reveal to you all. One type of bacteria that was detected from all of us was called fecal bacteria. Oh, yeah.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Fecal?
Fecal. From your arse. You're in the shower every day. You've got the soap, you're doing this, you're doing...
Wow.